computer. Wonderful. All right. Hi, my name is Sherry Strong, and I am in Belleville, Illinois, and I am the Vice President of Public Relations for the Toast of Belleville Toastmasters Chapter. We practice that every time we get together, and we say that 10 times. I'm just kidding. We do not. Anyhow, what we are doing is we're just getting people together and interviewing them and just having a little chit chat with them about why they joined Toastmasters, because we feel there are many reasons why people join, but there's a lot of misperceptions out in the world of what Toastmasters really does and who joins. So whatever that is for you, we are hoping that we will actually encourage you and inspire you that maybe you should go look into your local chapter. And of course, if you live near Belleville, Illinois, we would love for you to come join us, because it's not just about speaking on a big stage, if that's what you're thinking. Some of us like that. It could just be speaking at church or in a small group or at your job or even around the dinner table for that matter. So anyway, we hope that these little short interviews will help you, inspire you to maybe take a step into looking into your local chapter. I'm really excited about who I have with us today and who's going to have this little chit chat and why she joined Toastmasters and what she wishes everybody, why she wishes everybody would take advantage of their local chapter. So, but I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell a little bit about herself and how long she has been with her local chapter. So you want to take it away, Miss Tracey?
Well, Sherry, you told me to bring out the mic, and I did.
And yes, I forgot to use mine. See, we have fun too.
I would love to take it away. I'm so happy you reached out to me and asked me to do this interview, because I feel a lot of benefits from Toastmasters, and I'd love to share that with everyone. Okay, so my name's Tracey Diefenbach. I work as the Associate Director of a grant services firm. I've worked in the grants field for over 15 years now. I've done a lot of work with nonprofits, schools, all different universities, healthcare systems, all different kinds of agencies. And I joined Toastmasters about 7 months ago.
Now, was this your first time ever being in a Toastmasters club, or have you done it in the past?
Yes, this was my first time joining, and I think you're going to ask me about maybe the reasons why. So I think that maybe I launch it.
Go ahead.
So one of the reasons, and I give a little bit of my work background because that really led me to Toastmasters. So I've worked in the grants field for 15 years, and over the years I've been asked to take on, and especially honestly in the past, I would say 3 years, I've been asked to increasingly do more around public speaking. So things like presentations, trainings, and even honestly, one-on-one interviews with clients or a team within your client. So some of those interviews got a little tricky, I would say. You really had to be put on the spot. You had to know what was on your agenda, and you had to really ask the right questions and say them clear. And it was really about that clear communication. So that's when I kind of decided I needed help with the public speaking part. And I had a couple of colleagues had suggested I try Toastmasters.
Wonderful. And I love that. See, this was the first time I had joined as well. I shouldn't say that. I had actually been in a small group 20 years ago. And then, life happens and I was young and whatever. Then I moved around the country, and everywhere I lived in Timbuktu and could never find a chapter that was within an hour drive. So the first thing I did when I moved here a year ago in Belleville was to look for the local Toastmasters chapter. And very fortunately, I also know to look at chamber websites when I moved to a new community. And Toastmasters, or Toast of Belleville chapter, is a partner with the local chamber, and they were having a guest event. So this is the first time I've actually gotten to be a part of it. And it was one of the first things I did when I wanted to meet people in this area, was join Toastmasters. So people join for many different reasons. And I loved what you said also, because you said, yes, doing presentations and public speaking, but you also said just one-on-one interviews. And people, I sometimes don't think that they understand how learning to formulate your thoughts through Toastmasters or even in a public speaking manner will help you in your one-on-one situations and conversations as well. So what do you think,
Yeah.
what do you think, if I can ask you this, in the 7 months that you've joined, what has benefited you the most already?
Okay, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put my mic down so I can use my hands and tell
Sure.
you more about the benefits.
I
So this is
love it.
interesting. Yeah, this is really interesting. There's a lot of benefits, but I want to go back to the one where we talked about one-on-one client interviews. And during some of those interviews, I found that clarity was a problem in my communication. So one of the biggest benefits to me from Toastmasters is that you get a chance to not only to stand up there and hone in on your public speaking skills and really improve, but you get very specific feedback from a pretty talented group of people. And let me say, across all levels. So there can be people joining that are just like me and, maybe have done a few presentations, but just aren't quite comfortable. Or you have never done a presentation and you're saying ums and ahs and pausing and it's awkward. But it's in this very supportive group that offers really valuable concrete feedback. So I was able to do presentations or speeches and then get specific feedback, speak up, speak clear. What did you mean when you said this? You provided this presentation, but gave us no background information about you. It was very concrete feedback that I was then able to incorporate into my next speech, but it wasn't just about my speeches. I was able to translate that into my work.
That is so valuable.
In my work with clients, then I was able to kind of start anticipating maybe the questions that they might ask to my, from my questions, they might ask a follow-up question and start generating some of that clarity that I knew they would be looking for.
I love it. And you're right. We have people who, as you said, who are brand new. They're coming for work reasons. They didn't maybe even didn't want to themselves, but were encouraged to. And then you have people who've been speaking for a long time and never get true feedback. I know I was one of those. I've been speaking for a long time. I always get that was great, Sherry. Oh, I loved it, Sherry. And I'm sure they did. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. But I also want to get better at my craft and how I do that. And when I could come somewhere where I could get valid feedback that is constructive, and they don't just give feedback to give feedback. It's very detailed and people have great ideas. Sometimes we get so caught up in our thought processes about what we teach or at our work and how it should be taught that it's easy to get stuck in the box. And having those people and giving feedback can help you think outside that box and think of things that you didn't think of before or you thought you were doing in a great manner, but they can help you, again, take you to that next level. So wherever you are at in that process, in your honing of your skills process, as far as a speaker, trainer, communicator goes, there's always a next level. And you're right, the feedback is exactly one of the best benefits. So I was going to ask you why you keep coming back, but it sounds like I know why you keep coming back. So let me ask you this. It's she didn't know I was going to ask this question. It's 2 times a month, generally, all the chapters are. And it's easy to say I'm too busy and I've got things going on and oh my goodness, why do you make time for it? Why do you continue to make time for the chapter and showing up?
Okay, great question. I hope my connection still stays good. It seems to be going in and out.
Okay.
That's an awesome question. I'm so glad you said it because you asked it, because in something you said earlier, it made me think of this. Schedules are so busy, maybe even in some ways busier. Life is crazy right now, and maybe even busier now than they were before, or it's harder to fit things into different types of schedules now. One of the ways I have found I am able to fit in Toastmasters is how the meetings are scheduled. So first of all, I chose a group that meets over lunch, 11:30 to 12:30. There are all different kinds of groups all over. I live in a pretty rural area outside of Belleville, but just in my location, I think I found, in a 15 to 20 mile radius, I found 3 clubs. So there's clubs all over, even if, you're in a not centralized location. So that and timing, some meet in the evening, some meet over lunchtime. But here's the other thing. These meetings are so on time, and you referenced feedback, and members don't just stand up there and give the speaker, they don't just give them feedback to give feedback and you rant for 10 minutes. It's very specific feedback within a specific period of time. So that's how your meetings are run. It starts at 11:30 and the agenda says it ends at 12:30. Well, it ends at 12:30, and every section goes exactly the amount of time. So I feel like there's so much to gain from the meetings, and in exactly a slotted time. You don't have to show up, and it might be a 2-hour meeting and you might get this out of the meeting.
Oh, I love that. You're right.
Yeah.
The structure, they start on time, they end on time. And it doesn't mean that we don't network and do some chit-chatting prior or after. If you want that, you show up. And if you want to, you can stay afterwards. But you were right. The structure of the Toastmaster meetings is very concise, consistent, and you never have to worry that if we say it's going to be this amount of time, it is that amount of time. I will say too, for an hour, it goes by so fast.
Yes. And it just screams respect to people, right? We're so respectful of everyone else's time. So there is just that structure, and everything's, scripted within its time frames.
Well, along with time, we said we promised to make these fairly short. So let me ask you one last question. What is it something that you wish everybody knew about Toastmasters that maybe they don't know, or you perceive they have a perception that is maybe not a full perception, or they don't have the full picture? What is something you just want to tell people?
I'm going to say what I felt. So I feel like maybe I could be part of the norm, and other people feel this as well. I feel as if Toastmasters was scary and you didn't know how to approach it. You didn't know how to join. And the reality is, and you didn't know what was expected of you as joining many different types of associations, clubs, or boards, or anything like that. But Toastmasters really is non-intimidating, completely a safe, open, supportive environment. I've never met such a group of fellow members that are really wanting me to succeed in my path. And not just in the meetings, they aren't just encouraging in the meetings, it's after the meeting saying, that speech was so good, you should add this next time, or no, I wouldn't change a thing. It's all of that. It really has just been such a supportive environment, and public speaking is a skill everyone needs, no matter what you do across the board. Someone said recently, you don't have to be a content expert, but you have to be able to talk something on the subject. So it's about speaking. It's really about how you speak and present yourself, and everyone has something to gain from it. I would challenge others to just try a meeting. There's absolutely no commitment. You can just show up at a meeting. That's it.
Great advice. And I love the insight. You're right. Many people, I think it's always only for the professional, whatever that is in their head. And it's for everybody. So yes, go find your local chapter. If you're near Belleville, Illinois, at this greater St. Louis area, come check us out. Sherry Strong, Tracey, I want to make sure I say your last name right, Diefenbach.
Very good. Yes, very good.
You see, I was practicing beforehand, and then I thought, you know what? I may even have this wrong. Anyway, and see, that's one of the things you learn. Wonderful. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Join us and look on our Facebook page. We'll put these out on a YouTube channel as well if you want to hear more about the experiences of other people in their Toastmasters chapters. Tracey, thank you for taking the time to do this today, and I will see you at our next meeting.
Thank you so much, Sherry.